Tandem Nomads, episode 106.
You have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. If you want to run a business, if you want to get up in the morning and have energy to function for the entire day, your body better have the bandwidth to deal with it. How do you give your body the bandwidth?
Hello, Nomad Nation. Welcome to Tandem Nomads, the podcast show where you can find great inspiration and tips to build your portable business and thrive in your global nomadic life. I am your host, Emel Deregi. I'm a marketing coach and the founder of Tandem Nomads. And in this episode, I want to share with you an important topic for all of you out there who are trying to hustle and make it happen in your life and in your business and in your career, while still trying to have a bit of balance, especially with your health. So I brought to you an expert here, a health nutrition coach, Rashmi Zimburg. Rashmi, are you ready for this ride?
Absolutely. Thank you. You're so full of energy, Amel. Who cannot be ready for the ride with you?
Oh, you're so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to have you again on Tandem Nomads podcast show and Nomad Nation. Yes, Rashmi has already been sharing her journey with us. About how she started her portable career, moving from a country to another. And if you want to know more about Rashmi, make sure to go to tandemnomads.com/31, where she tells you about her personal journey. But I today really wanted to have Rashmi here for her expertise as a health coach. So Rashmi is a certified integrative nutrition health coach and also specialist in Ayurvedic recipes. As a global citizen and a mother of 2 daughters, she is passionate about food as a source of healing and energy. In addition to growing up in India and the US, she has accompanied her diplomatic husband through various postings: Algeria, yay,
Yeah.
Indonesia, Austria, yay, Japan, and now Australia. So we share both Austrian husbands, just to let you know. and, uh, and also, Rashmi grew up surrounded by a large and extended family where healthy and unprocessed food was the norm. Eating according to Ayurvedic rules was the second nature to her since the start. But Rashmi also studied food and Ayurveda extensively for more than a decade while navigating her life through each country and exploring food cultures. So after a career in finance and cross-culture training, as a health coach, Rashmi brought all her special skills and life experience together to guide people through being healthier and using natural food and ingredients. So Rashmi, this was just like an overview of your journey. Is there anything that you want to add to that?
So, I want to add that as a tandem nomad, one of the things that I felt I was drawn to all the time was that I needed something familiar to draw upon that grounded me. And food and the way I ate as a child and what I picked up in my journey, because every time we moved countries, I added just a little something more to my medicine cabinet and to what would ground me and what would be familiar. So, I have during this journey, I also dealt with an acute illness, which made me even more conscious about eating healthily. Then, if you wanted to add more to that, I was being challenged by 2 growing teenagers who, when you are facing all the transitions that we do as nomads, tandem nomads, it was a wake-up call, because when you have to deal with teenagers and when you have to deal with their challenges, you have to ground yourself even more, and you have to be in your own personal shoes even more strongly than ever before in order to be their North Star. And for that reason, I thought that was my wake-up call, and I knew I had to do something that I loved, that was natural to me, and that would bring all my talents and my experiences together. So that's what brought me to being a health coach and a nutrition coach.
That's amazing. And I've been watching your journey since also we talked in this episode, in the previous episode together, that it was the beginning of Tandem Nomads, I think, when we
Yes,
started.
right,
It
right,
was
right, right,
amazing
right.
to watch you. It's been 3 years now. So to watch you grow, and what I find fascinating about your journey, such a beautiful proof of when we say that everything happens for a reason, and at some point it
Yes,
started making sense. And I can
yes,
see how your career as an spouse and diplomatic spouse has evolved in a way that really made sense slowly. And I remember in this interview we talked about the role of being a diplomatic spouse and how much effort you had to put into cooking, into representations, but at the end of the day, you also use that to be able to practice your recipes and actually
right.
provide real great recipes and people who are fond of to come and eat at your home. So it just makes sense. Even the role as a diplomatic spouse made sense in your journey, on top of going into intercultural training and becoming a coach. Things are just, for me, a great message to share with all of you who are listening, that just pay attention to what's happening on your journey, because it might lead you to what makes you happy while making other people happy. And I can see, Rashmi, how you're blossoming by developing this business of a health coach.
Thank you.
But on the
Right.
marketing perspective, I want to share with you, Rashmi, we didn't talk about this, but what I've seen you doing in these 3 years was to actually, something that I share a lot with my audience and my clients, is the importance of niching down and becoming the expert on one very specific topic. Instead of being a coach in general, you have niched down your expertise to Ayurvedic healthy food. So
Right.
any insights about that and how you got to that?
Yeah, there's a lot out there in Ayurveda, and there are many Ayurvedic experts, there are many kinds of nutritionists, but I had to draw upon what felt right to me, what felt culturally and intrinsically a place that I could close my eyes, and whatever the situation, I could just speak. Because, it's not that I had to learn something, but whatever I do, that's what I'm reading. It's all around me. It's what my interest is. So I didn't really have to do much more. And so it's natural. You have to be in a place where it just comes out, when it's absolutely natural, where you can think on your feet.
Exactly. And that's a great tip. And I know I always say to my clients when they try to find their niche is, what can you talk about endlessly? What can
Right.
you talk about and read about and get educated about with no fatigue and
No effort.
and
No
exactly
effort.
no
No
effort?
effort.
What
Right.
feels natural to you, and usually
Right.
that's the way.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to share that to all of you who are listening, and Nomad Nation. This is another great example of the importance of niching down. Whenever you start your business, think about how can you be an expert in your very specific niche. So the reason I brought to you today, I know that we really wanted to tap onto these important messages here, because you're also a great example of a portable business, but I wanted to bring you here to share your expertise in food, because I think we need it. Especially, I see it in my own life and all the people I work with. It is hard to start your business, and at some point you have
Yes.
to give yourself wholeheartedly to make it work. And one of the first things that end up in the back burner is our health, and also our healthy routines, especially with food. So
Yes.
I really wanted to have your insights about that, so you can share with us some tips about this. But before we go into it, I would love you to actually explain us what Ayurveda means.
Ayurveda means, Ayur means life, and Veda means the knowledge of long life. Veda means knowledge, and Ayur means long life. So the
Interesting.
definition of Ayurveda from Webster is a form of alternative medicine that is the traditional system of medicine of India and seeks to treat and integrate body, mind, and spirit using a comprehensive, holistic approach, especially by emphasizing diet, herbal remedies, exercise, meditation, breathing, massages, physical therapy. So yoga and Ayurveda are very closely tied with each other. So Ayurveda also believes that, I have this wonderful quote from a chef who says, just as every snowflake is unique in shape and form, every human has their own blueprint. So it's like a map of the body that is made up of infinite variety of shapes, behaviors, emotions, and appearances. And Ayurveda believes that you must keep that in mind because you are a bio-individual. And you must know you in order to eat Ayurvedically. And so what does it mean to eat according to Ayurveda? So what is that? What does that really mean? It's such a good question. Eating Ayurvedically means that you eat all 6 tastes.
Oh, okay.
Easy to digest, with proper food pairing and combinations. The use of spices is well cared for, and the season is considered. It is made with love and eaten, chewing well in a nice, quiet environment. This is an Ayurvedic meal.
Interesting. And when you say 6 tastes?
I'm coming to that.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, so the 6 tastes that you include in every meal are sweet, sour, salty, bitter, pungent, and astringent. So meals with all 6 tastes are opportunities to help balance the different flavors and nutrition for better health for everyone. So what do you mean by bitter and pungent? Bitter. So when you add spices, bitter is things like bitter greens and spices like turmeric. But turmeric is pungent and bitter at the same time. And what is astringent? So when you eat something and you feel a dryness in your mouth, so things like broccoli, cauliflower are astringent, have astringent qualities. So, if you go to my website, there's a listing of all 6 tastes and what are the foods that go in under these categories.
Exactly. And the website is
Shayrush.com.
Shayrush.com. Shay like the French, Chez, Rush,
right.
RUSH.com.
Yeah, from
very interesting.
Yep. And so Ayurveda also considers food to be one of the most important pillars of health. And you've heard the phrase, you are what you eat. And Ayurveda says you are what you eat and how you digest what you eat.
I see. So digest
is the cornerstone of health and immunity in Ayurveda. So when it comes to digestion, that's where the magic of spices comes in. And we'll talk about that later. And I want to go back to combinations. So, it's every culture has their traditional combinations of how we eat food and what we combine. So, in traditional Jewish culture, people don't mix milk and protein. Milk and cheese, milk and sour don't go well together. And in Ayurveda, no yogurt with sour fruit. So how can you drink mango lassi and how can you have yogurt with a bunch of sour fruits?
Yeah.
It's, you can eat it, but it's really not good for your body.
Oh, that's a shame because it's tasty.
And fish and milk are not a good combination.
Yeah,
and then, cooked honey. So, people have cooked, they have recipes with honey when you bake. And Ayurveda says, don't do that to honey because it loses its nutrition and it actually becomes toxic. And things like don't eat fruit before afternoon and eat fruit 30 minutes before you eat anything else in your meal, so that the fruit ferments. And if you eat it with the meal, then so does your meal.
Yeah,
and you don't want
a
to
lot
do
of
that.
cultures have fruit as a dessert, which is really not good, because
No.
fruit should be like a snack or something that you serve like before a meal, right?
Way before a meal,
Way
like breakfast, first thing in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And never mix melons with anything, especially milk. So melons are really, you just eat melons alone. Yeah, because melons are a diuretic and milk is a laxative. How can you do that to yourself?
So those are great tips already to know of.
But so not everyone suffers from bad combinations. What happens is they slow down your digestion. And we don't want to slow down our digestive fire. That's the issue. Because when we slow down our digestion, that's when we can start to have gut problems. And gut problems lead to chronic pain, lead to so many issues that become disease.
So I think with our society today, we are having more and more access to food, but to processed food. And I think the challenge of today is, how do we eat more consciously and healthier, knowing that we're exposed to so much easy food,
Right.
and how to create the right routines to be able to cook and prepare our foods more mindfully, despite a busy lifestyle. So I don't know what insights you have about that, because it is great to be able to understand how Ayurvedic food works, and we can see it, but I can see it in my life, day-to-day life. For example, it's so much easier in New York to go get a prepared meal down the road than actually go shopping and preparing and cutting and the whole time that it takes to be able to prepare a healthy meal. So what are you? Yeah.
So there are some really there's simple things that you can do. So you can start your day, for example, with a warm breakfast. And I know it takes a lot to make the time to have a warm breakfast when you've got little kids and you have to run them out the door and get them to school and organize breakfast. But if you wake up just a bit early, and while you're getting dressed, you stew some apples and some pears, and it takes 5 minutes to cook oatmeal. Really, it takes 5 minutes. And if you soak them the night before to warm it up, it's even less. And if you, before you go to bed at night, if you soak a bunch of almonds and you peel them while you are brushing your teeth at the same time, that works too,
So you're all about multitasking, right?
Yes, all about multitasking, because you have to get the right food into your system.
It's true. And I think, to be honest with you, I think it's just like when we decide to run a business, it's the same thing. It's about committing to it. I think it's about making it a priority, even if it takes a little more time. And I think that's a real challenge. And that's basically, for me, the biggest message I want to share in this episode. We're giving some insights and some tips you're going to give us right now, a bit more practical ideas. We already shared so many ideas of things we could do to eat healthier. But for me, it starts with making it a conscious decision to make it a routine and integrate it in our daily life. And good habits are hard to implement in our lives, but as soon as we make it a habit, I think it takes, I heard, for 3 months to make a habit really last.
The reason why it's you want to make it a priority is when you understand why. If you understand the challenges that we're faced with, if you understand that nutrition doesn't have to be overcomplicated, and it doesn't have to be, and you really have to understand that the food industry is a business with a bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand that just because they're selling you something and they're calling it healthy doesn't mean it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the more processed food you eat, you're eating food that is full of salt, sugar, and fats that are not right for your body. And, if you give that to your children and if you give that to yourself, what are you really doing to yourself? Are you really then feeding the health industry? And are you going to be adding to your hospital bills? Mm-hmm. So once you understand that, and if your children are chronically sick and their immunity is low, what is it doing to your business? Exactly. I wouldn't want my kids home from school all the time. I couldn't stand it.
That's so smart what you just said. Get your kids healthy, not because they need to be, but because you need to work. Yes. And having them sick all day would not help.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, you're so right about this. And I think for me, that was a huge message to share here before we go into some more practical tips of some recipes and ideas of what to do. But I want to know, what kind of challenges do you see people having when you work with them? What are the challenges that you address as a nutrition coach?
Well, I think the trigger really is when people feel that they are going through a lot of fatigue and are losing focus and are constantly going to doctors for for small things.
And it's not interesting because in your website, I love this quote that you say, food is your medicine and your kitchen is your pharmacy.
Right. Right, it is.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not mine. I think many people have said that before, and I love Dr. Axe, whose website is Food is Medicine.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, food is definitely medicine. So, could you give us some tips here? I kind of have something scenarios that I know happen, and I want to start with the scenario of people who are stressed and trying to run a business and can't find the time to deal with it, because this is, I think, especially a lot of you, Nomad Nation, I know you're running your business, trying to make it happen, and a lot of you might be moms also trying to make everything happen. So could you, Rashmi, give us some tips for this particular situation? What should we eat and how should we approach it in the case where we feel very stressed and trying to manage too much at once?
So one of the things that I had to deal with for myself, and I tell my clients, is that you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. If you want to run a business, if you want to get up in the morning and have energy to function for the entire day, your body better have the bandwidth to deal with it. And how do you give your body the bandwidth? So when you make simple choices. So when you go grocery shopping, you walk through the perimeter of grocery stores, at least in Australia. I don't shop in the middle aisles. I shop in the outer aisles, where the outer aisles have all the fresh foods. And, I make it my business to do a whole bunch of prepping on a Sunday night. So Sunday evening, if I want, then I take 3 hours on a Sunday evening to just go through and prep up, organize some grains, soak some grains, then put them in the rice cooker, cook some quinoa, cook some brown rice, and keep it. Cut up a whole bunch of vegetables, keep some greens, tip and top my asparagus. So when I go food shopping, I buy the maximum number of veggies that I buy are green, so that 3/4 of my plate is green.
Okay, interesting tip. So 3/4 of the plate green.
Plate is green, yeah. And then you add a starch, you add some carbs, you add a bit of protein, and just for a tip, you can't eat more than what you can cup in your two hands. Ayurveda says that much is the portion.
Mm.
And you eat your big meal at lunchtime, but many people can't because they are out running errands and the whole family gets together in the evening and that's when they eat. So you still try to eat, if you are older, you eat a little less in the evenings and maybe your children need more.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you try to maintain some sort of awareness of timing when you eat, how you eat, and what you eat.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're on the run, so if I'm running and I don't have time at all, and I have no time in between clients, what I do is I still make the time. I run to the refrigerator. I go and steam some vegetables really quickly. It's easy. If I don't steam them, I blanch them. And I put a dash of olive oil and lemon and herb salt if I feel like it. And I'm eating those vegetables so that I have something in my body before my next client.
Mm.
Or, I have things like nuts soaked, or I make bliss balls. I have a nice recipe for bliss balls. So they have lots of brain food in them. My kids eat them and I eat them. I eat 1 or 2 a day and I get enough nutrition to get me going.
Yeah. So, I was thinking about all these people who might be in a situation who have like eat when they're stressed, like munch something in between.
Right.
And
Right.
this is a dilemma that a lot of people have, I know. So what would you recommend to people who feel that urge of stress eating and munching something in between meals and things like that whenever they feel stressed or sad or that they feel like they need to eat something?
So I really believe that you crowd out your cravings and you never deprive your cravings, because cravings are really important signals that your body is giving you. The craving says you are missing something and you need to take care of it.
So basically, I love what you said here. I just want to highlight something that if you feel like you're having cravings, especially in moments where you're stressed and are eating junk food, basically,
Yeah.
Listen to your body. Your body is saying that it needs something. So we're not saying stop eating or stop, munching on something, but rather choose healthy things to be able to compensate what the body is asking for. Because at the end of the day, the choices we might make to when we have those cravings might actually create the opposite effect.
Absolutely. You feel so bad.
Yeah.
You feel bad about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is always to feel good about yourself.
Exactly.
Even after you've scarfed down a bunch of stuff that you need to eat because you have a craving,
Yeah. So
it's
what
to
about
pick the right cravings.
That's good. I like that message. Pick your right cravings if you're in a moment where you feel you need to eat something even between your meals.
Yes, to it.
And I think it will be difficult to share this in this episode, but there's so many amazing recipes on your website where you share all these great recipes of how to cook healthily and explain what each ingredient provides to the body and to the health. So I really recommend you to check that out, Nomad Nation. If you lack of inspiration, it's amazing, the list of great recipes that I've seen in your website.
Well, I need to put many more. I've been a little slow at doing that, but there's so many good websites that have recipes. And I have a vegan child, so I have lots of vegan websites that I draw upon.
So are there any you would recommend here to
there is one. It's called Connoisseur Vegan. Connoisseur Vegan. I think I'll send you the link. I don't have it right now, but I'll send you the link.
We'll put it on the show notes page.
Yeah.
Okay. That will be helping, because I think at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I know in my case, if only I had a bit more inspiration of healthy and quick recipes, that will already help, I think, to build that habits, is to know that you don't have to, start looking for inspiration. If you only had one place where you could go, and know that, whenever you go there, you'll find something good. It's also helpful, I find.
Yeah.
But I think if I had to summarize our message here, like we said, the first thing is to make it a conscious choice. And the
Yeah.
second thing, what I've learned through this conversation, is also, to know our habits, and to know what's happening in our environment, and to see what are the things we can implement easily. What are the things I can implement that will work in this framework? And
Right.
then look for the recipes that fit to that. For example, you were saying, giving examples of starting in the night, while you brush your teeth, you soak some peas or something like that, or
No, no, no.
almonds.
You peel the almonds that you
Peel the
soaked the night before.
Exactly. So it's all about multitasking, but also like creating those moments in your week where you actually consciously prepare. And I loved when you talked about Sundays, that the
Right.
fact that you block Sundays like 2 to 3 hours to do that. And it's a bit
Right.
like, building content. When I say it's about batching,
Right.
you know,
Right. Right.
like batching is the best way to be efficient. Is like when you do as much as you can, only in, like, you dedicate few hours to do as much as you can for the rest of the week, so that you don't have to think about it anymore. So the same thing we talk about in Tandem Nomads, and when I do marketing coaching about batching your content, it's the same for the food. You can batch your shopping and
Yeah.
cut
I
everything.
only shop once a week.
Exactly.
Once a week. That's
Once a
it.
week, shopping, and then cutting everything and preparing everything, so that the cooking process is just about mixing the things in the pan.
Yeah. That's it. Put them in the fridge. You know,
Okay.
I have these little boxes, glass boxes,
Mm-hmm.
and everything's there, neatly lined up. And you know, you can easily clean your vegetables, uh, trim them, keep them ready, prepped to cook, so that all you have to do is quickly steam them, saute them, whatever you minimum amount of cooking. You know.
Fantastic. Yeah. So tell
Yeah.
me, before we say goodbye, how do you actually help your clients? How do you provide your services as a health coach? How does that work?
So I have clients that I see who come to me twice a month.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have clients. I have many more clients online,
Mm-hmm.
because, as I learned from my friend Amel, that but in order to build a portable business, you really try to use the online portal as your main focus. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to do that. And the way I help them is help them see, I provide a space to listen to them
Mm-hmm.
and understand what their needs are. And we all know that what feeds us is not only on our plate. So I focus on the food, I focus on their relationships,
Mm-hmm.
I help bring attention to their career needs, their spiritual needs,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever else shows up.
Interesting. And I also saw on your website that you have a system that you actually send people meal plans.
Yes, if people are interested, then I create, for my individual clients, I create a meal plan for them. I create individualized, personalized detox plans
Mm-hmm.
and recipes and ideas that would work for them depending on where they are. So if I have a client in India, I clearly cannot give them all the options for fruits and vegetables that I can give to a client in Australia or the United States or in
So you're
Europe.
aware of their environment too. So it's very
Yes,
personalized.
yes, yes,
Very interesting. So I think for all of you there who might need that little help, because I think it's one thing to know that you need to invest, you need know that you need to like put the effort in eating consciously, healthily. Sometimes it can help to actually have that weekly recipe that will come to your mailbox, and have your
yes,
call with that person who keeps you accountable. I think accountability can really help to start having a healthy routine with food too.
right.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that I also help people is to help bring awareness to their exercise routines.
Mm-hmm.
And accountability is so necessary. With one of my clients, she suddenly, every time I saw her, she had something to say about how she couldn't find the time to exercise. So I said, okay, so from now on, the last thing I want you to do is send me an SMS before you go to bed about how you managed, what kind of exercise you had, how many steps did you take today, and what did you do for movement. So at the end of the day, she would send me a text, and she did that for 3 weeks. And then she didn't need to send me a text because she was doing it.
Yeah. Accountability, super important.
Yes.
That's fantastic. So is there anything else you would like to share, a last message to all of those who want to start implementing healthy food routines in their lifestyle, especially when trying to grow a business and being super busy or stressed or going through transition?
Yeah, I do. I want to say a few things. Simple things. Eat more servings of fruits and vegetables. Dress your veggies with fresh lime juice or lemon juice so that you can increase the nutritional value of your food. Become more conscious of your digestion. Really get to know yourself and your gut. What do you need? Eat moderately. Don't skip meals. Because your regular times of the day trains your body to anticipate and digest your food. Again, I'm stuck on the digestion bit. And keep your digestive fire going. So, the hydrochloric acid in your stomach really needs to be potent. So don't drink water with your meal. Drink water 20 minutes before or after. And, don't eat if you haven't cleared your system. Don't eat until you really are hungry. Especially if you're an entrepreneur. Just because it's 1 o'clock doesn't mean you have to eat. But as much as I'm saying eat regularly, if you're not hungry, don't do it.
But we have to be honest to ourselves. Are we not hungry, or are we just not in the mindset of eating?
Right.
That's
right.
important to listen to our guts, like you said, in our body.
And sleep. Oh my God. I cannot overemphasize movement and sleep.
Yeah, it's a holistic approach at the end of the day. When we consider healthy food, it has to go with healthy lifestyle too, sleeping, but also exercising. And I think that's an important message here.
And also, when you have had a heated discussion, that's the last moment to eat food.
Oh, good one. I never heard that one. So if you had a fight,
I mean, you really, when you're eating, you're also eating all this anger.
Not healthy.
So not healthy. So, be mindful of the environment that you create. Calm down, sit down and eat. It only takes a few breaths. Take a couple of deep breaths. Sit down and allow yourself to be nurtured and not scarf down your food. Don't swallow your food.
How long do you think a meal should last?
There are people that say you have to chew your soup. You have to chew your water, that you really must chew and chew and chew. So a meal should last about 30 minutes. Yeah.
And chewing is important.
Chewing is very important. And there's one more thing I want to share with the group, is that people say you should drink lots of water, like 3 liters of water or 4 liters of water. Well, Ayurveda disagrees. Ayurveda says just like you have to digest food, you have to digest water.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, cold water takes the longest to digest. Warm water takes 3/4 of an hour to digest.
And that's why a lot of Asian
lots of Asians drink warm water. And you don't, you know, drink when you're thirsty. There's liquid, there's water also in your food. So, you know, drink a herbal tea. So when you're hungry, drink a herbal tea. And one of my favorite teas that I recommend for transitioning global tandem nomads is my Tridosha tea. It's a mixture of fennel, cumin, and coriander. And it's called Tridosha because Ayurveda says you have 3 kinds of constitution types. And so this would work with, this tea is something that reduces stress and calms down your stomach and your gut.
Right. So how do you spell it?
Tridosha. And I think I have a recipe for the Tridosha tea.
Oh, fantastic. So we'll put the link. Is it on your website?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so I'll put the link there in the show.
And I'll send you the link for the recipe.
Fantastic. Wow. Okay. This is going to be so great. And we're going to all start cooking Rashmi's recipes. So Nomad Nation, I hope this was useful to you. Make sure to check out the webpage of this episode so that you can have all these tips. So many tips that you've shared that I think we could sit here for 3 hours and just list all your ideas of ingredients and how to mix certain ingredients with others. I think that's basically the basic of Ayurveda, to mix the things that go together and avoid those that don't. But also all the holistic approach of like integrating healthy routines also in our life, daily life. But that was really great. Thank you so much, Rashmi, for sharing so many great insights.
Thank you, Amel.
Yes, we are running. But if you want to have one last word before we say goodbye.
Remember that food is not about just feeding ourselves. Food is really about nurturing our souls.
Mm.
And if you just take the time and think about how important it is and what we are doing by feeding ourselves, our bodies are such amazing things. They heal themselves by themselves if we just give them a chance.
Yeah.
So if we really just recognize that our bodies are our temples,
we have to respect our bodies.
Right.
And treat them with respect.
Right.
We sometimes take it for granted. You know, I think when our bodies work well, we tend to not realize that we're very fortunate, and we have to respect that temple, like you say, and nurture it and take care of it in order to let us do what we have to do in this world, and be there for the people who need us. So very important.
And for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Put the oxygen mask on yourself, like you said.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was such a beautiful message to end. Thank you so much, Rashmi. And I look forward to continue to following your amazing journey. And Nomad Nation, as I said, check out the webpage of this episode. And if you enjoyed this interview and all the great insights that we share with you on Tandem Nomads, please make sure to leave your review on iTunes. That would be very much appreciated. And as always, make sure to turn all your challenges into really great opportunities.